Jim, I feel like I'm in a museum honoring everything that we love.
Right on top like that. And there's our Palomar knot.
I do not want to let that one go.
Healthy, hardy, and safe, certified Arkansas bait fish.
We talk a lot about fish, what they eat and how to catch them. Now the purpose of this show is to reintroduce you to the roots of fishing, a hook, a minnow, and lots of great memories. Now so far in this season, you've seen a lot of people catch their first ever fish on camera. Yeah!
Yes.
Yeah!
Yes.
You got yourself a crappie.
That's a humongous one.
Keep reeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
The minnows that make this happen are farm raised and certified. And the farmers who started this are part of a great American story of entrepreneurialism, hard work, and a great idea.
My name is Jamie Anderson, here with IF Anderson Farms in Lone Oak, Arkansas. We're a fourth generation bait fish farm. We have 339 ponds, over 3,400 acres of water, raising primarily golden shiners, fathead minnows, and goldfish.
This is IF Anderson Farms in Lone Oak, Arkansas. An industry leader, IF Anderson is also one of the first bait fish families in the nation. Neil Anderson and son Jamie lead this organization that started in the 1940s. The vision began with Faye Anderson, who worked as a flight instructor in World War II and realized that the land in Arkansas produced some unusually healthy minnows.
So he decided to try to raise more, and he bought some from a gentleman across the highway from us today that were caught in his rice field out of a bow. He took them back, and they handled the best of any minnows he tried to handle. And so he said, I don't know if it's the soil type, the latitude, longitude, the climate, or water quality, but he said, I've got to raise those minnows there. I don't want to try to raise them somewhere else.
Many decades later, the Anderson family is still strong in the fish business.
I was 4 years old. I was out here helping sort goldfish, the black red from the red, on the sorting table. And everybody was amazed at how easy it was for me to do. I could do twice what everybody else was doing. I hope I can feed fish till I can't drive in it. But they take my driver's license away from me.
But make no mistake, while the family loves the fish, this enterprise is still around because the Anderson family is also adept at business.
We're producing a product that we sold in the 40s and 50s and 60s up till now. The world has changed. We're still trying to produce the same product and hit the same recreational market, and that market's changed, the product's changed, the demand's changed. So if you don't change in how you produce it or what you produce, it's going to fail on a generation at some point. You know, but I think a company that has produced the exact same thing for decades, it says a lot that they're still rolling, because you have to be very innovative to be able to do that. At 20 years from now, we're not going to be profitable doing exactly what we're doing today. There's no way. The world's changing too fast. So every year we've just got to keep up.
Neil has a unique perspective on this whole operation. He's the third generation fish farmer, 2 generations up and 2 generations down. His grandsons are already picking up some hours.
No, it's busy. It's hard to get up in the morning. I don't want to get up in the mornings.
Knowing that your father and your grandfather and your great-grandfather and your great-great-grandfather have been involved in this, what's that mean to you?
It means a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty special.
Yeah.
Not many family businesses can claim that kind of heritage.
You think you guys can work together and make it a team effort?
Most of the time.
You gonna take mornings and Warner take afternoons?
No, I'm a one afternoon.
Okay.
I guess you don't like the mornings, do you? All of this fish farming wisdom didn't come from a textbook. It came from hard work and correct adjustments.
Working with family certainly has its ups and downs. I mean, he's thinking it, he don't want to say it, but you know, I'm not the easiest to work with. We certainly butt heads. You know, I think every generation has their vision of where they want it to go, which I think we agree on a lot. We talk about it a lot. But You know, he looked at his dad's history with the business and where he'd come from, what he'd done, what he'd tried. Try not to make the same mistakes. I've tried to do the same thing. If you don't learn from the previous generation, you're in big trouble.
The first track hoe we ever bought, my dad said, "That's no good, we don't need that." And we were having trouble. We were having to lay ponds out 6 months to get in there and clean those basins or sumps out and all. And I said, "Well, we'll find out. Let them deliver it and I'll run it." And I just walked it right off M1 and started slinging the mud out of it and then pulled myself back out. And he looked at me and he said, "I believe you're right." You know, and he's done some good jobs too that I didn't think would follow through, but it has.
It's all trial and error. We just try not to repeat the errors.
Yeah. I told my grandsons, you're gonna make mistakes, just don't make them twice.
The Anderson family started from the mind of Fay Anderson, a national touring musician.
He went with the big bands, went all over all over the United States. For 10 years he did that.
An accomplished pilot.
He loved to fly. My mother always said he meant a farm so he could fly. You know, as long as he had enough money to fly that airplane by airplane, he was fine.
And an entrepreneur who started a business and a business mindset that is one of the great legacies in this industry and a model for all family businesses.
It's something that's very important to me. And my dad lived a long time and died 91 and was here with me. So I just felt like I was supporting his decisions from the past and moving them forward. And that was a big part of it.
The alternative to certified Arkansas bait fish is wild-caught bait. Now, when you use wild-caught bait, you're doing several things and none of them are good. The first thing is if there is any disease in the waterway where the wild-caught bait came from, you're now transferring that into the water that you like to fish. You can also transfer invasive species and you destroy the forage in the original lake. All of those bad outcomes are eliminated when you use certified Arkansas bait fish. Disease-free, healthy, hardy, and safe. That's why you need to ask for it wherever you buy bait. We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. One of the #1 antagonists in the fish farming story is depredation. Other animals who try to get your bait before you do.
What we raise is at the bottom of the food chain. So there's nothing out there that doesn't eat it or, you know, an opportunistic feeder. You know, people say mallard ducks don't eat minnows. Well, I beg to differ. They eat minnows all winter long right here. And Lonoke County, being as big as they are in fish production and the amount of acreage that we have just in Lonoke County, we're a huge draw for all these migratory birds that come through here. You know, when you're flying over in an airplane, you see the ponds. You can imagine what a bird sees.
They see food.
They see food.
Yeah. Economist Carol Engel conducted an eye-opening study on the cost of depredation.
Even I thought the numbers were too high, so I was probably more conservative than I should have been. But she had us down at $388,000 a year just in bird harassment on our farm. That's zero product loss, and that's extremely conservative on manpower and vehicles and all that, because even I couldn't believe the numbers. I knew it was high.
Yeah.
I would have thrown out 100,000, but then all the questions she's asking, you know, she's an economist. She goes, all these factors matter. And when I got to thinking about it, I'm like, my goodness, it's much higher than we even thought. And we lose much more than that $388,000 in product.
And I've heard those cormorants are smart enough, they can tell, like when a truck comes by, which door opens. It's going to be one who's going to potentially have some peril or not. And so they
know a white truck is a threat
Yeah.
because all our trucks are white. They know the driver's side. They will get up off the levee ahead of you, fly the passenger side every time.
Yeah.
Because they're not harassed out of the passenger window, but they're harassed out of the driver's window. But you can drive through here in a red truck and they won't even fly until you get right up on them. But a white truck, they know a range, you know. They're not dumb animals at all.
Yeah, the phrase bird brain doesn't apply.
No, not at all.
Let's head off to Orlando, Florida now and ICAST, the largest fishing trade show in the country. And we'll take a look at one of the oldest companies in fishing with some of their newer products. I've got Caleb here with us from Zebco, and Zebco is the iconic brand that all of us grew up with the old 202s or the 33s. I mean, everybody traces their roots in fishing back to a Zebco. And Zebco has been around for a long time, will be around for a long time. Talk a little bit about what we've got here.
So like you said, Zebco's been around for a very long time. We just hit 75 years here, I think next year, or we're coming right around the corner on it. These two products here that I got in my hands, this is our Rambler combo and our Wilder combo, which we made specifically for kids. So you'll find these in stores. They'll be on their own flat boards, bright yellow, and they got their age groups on there to make it very easy for people to find, as well as still having our 33 and 202s that we've had forever.
Yeah.
But these are just really good for the kids, and good to get out there and get on the water. Everything we have comes pre-spooled with line, so it's always ready. Easy for the parents, easy for kids to pick up and go out.
Spin cast, push button, and great for live bait.
Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. You put a little worm on there or minnow or whatever, throw it out there and catch you some fish.
Coming up, we'll take you back to ICAST, and we've got a first fish segment that will melt your heart. We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. Many years ago, I had the opportunity of a lifetime to televise the FLW Tour. During that time, I worked with Charlie Evans. Together, we helped promote the sport of bass fishing and handed out some huge championship checks to some very talented anglers. While at ICAST, I had the opportunity to meet up with my old friend. This is a special treat for me because Charlie Evans and I go back a long way back to my first days in fishing. We had a lot of fun on the FLW Tour.
It was amazing what we, every day was a holiday, next day was Thanksgiving. We spent more time laughing than we did working. It was a blast.
That's true. We got stories to tell. We could fill up the rest of the show with those stories, but what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about, we've got 7 million new anglers that came in during 2020. And a lot of them still don't exactly know how to get started with fishing. This show's all about that, helping them get started. You got some products right here, and look at all this stuff. I mean, this is the jersey for kids that want to get involved with fishing.
Yeah, when I left FLW and started fishing, I had a mission, and that mission was to make sure to get the message out to kids and their parents to get outside as a family unit. The family unit is so important, spending time together. We call it freedom from electronic prison. Get free from electronic prison. And fishing is one of the greatest ways to do that, Carlton. And so the KidCaster's pole is a great asset for that. This pole is, as you can see,
tangle free.
Tangle free. It's so neat. The line comes out of the reel up to the rod without any ice, so it can't tangle up.
Okay.
So even parents that have never fished before, never been outside before, can take their kids outdoors and don't have to worry about fussing about tangles, getting tangles out of the line. And so it's a great asset for that. And of course, they're available at Bass Pro Shop in Cabela, so you can say it's easy to get, and so that absolutely, Bass Pro Shop Cabela's, and so what we need to keep people excited about fishing. Those people you talked about new to our sport, we need to keep them engaged. And one of the greatest things about that is teaching them how to catch fish, teach them how to enjoy themselves, teach them how to have fun while they're outdoors. And it is rather addictive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, once you get started, you can't stop.
You cannot ever stop, I don't think. I don't want to stop at any rate.
You know, Charlie's great at it because when I got started in fishing, I knew very, very little. 20 years ago, I got started and I learned a lot from this guy about how to fish and get that passion. When you feel that magic tug on the line, that's where the addiction starts. There's a lot of parents out that are watching right now that want to know, how can I get my kids started? What kind of advice would you give a parent who's got some young kids that want to go out and have a good time, but you can get lost in the Bass Pro Shops wondering what all to buy and what all to do? Kind of simplify, what advice would you give them?
I know that the people are watching MLF on TV and BAS is on TV and thinking about, boy, take them bass fishing. No.
Yeah.
Don't ever start your kids or somebody that hadn't fished before on bass fishing. What I advise always is a bobber, a bobber and live bait. A bobber and live bait. Get around where there's where there's bluegill or crappie or whatever it is, where there's lots of fish, so they can have instant action. Watching that bobber go down and pulling that fish in, because the last thing you want to do is go fishing, bass fishing, because although you're watching us catch a lot of fish, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have to fish for hours to get on. A kid does not want to wait for hours. Their attention span, we need to get them out there, get them started on something very easy. Like I said, get something to tug the line, look at the smile. Just, as a matter of fact, video that smile. It's irreplaceable. And you can see this is fun for kids. And that will keep them out there.
That's great. That's great. Charlie, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Let's go straight into this week's edition of First Fish. I want to introduce you to 4-year-old Nora. Now, during our very first episode of Live Bait, we had that kids fishing derby out at Malone's Pond. Nora was supposed to wait until the end of the derby, and then she was going to have a chance to catch her first fish, but she couldn't wait. She saw all the excitement, grabbed a rod, cast her minnow, and this is what happened.
Now watch it. There it goes. Reel it in. All right.
You got one. I don't know how to work this thing. Oh, you got one. I said I don't know how to work this thing. She got one. She got one.
All righty. Looky here. All right. Look at that fish.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, I want to show my dad.
You want to show your dad?
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, come over here.
Look, I got fish. I did it all by myself. Yeah.
That was great.
Can I touch it?
Looky here.
That's a big fish.
Yeah. Do you want to name it?
I'll name it
Smokey.
Smokey.
That's a good name.
Yeah, let's
Yeah. Looky there. All right. That's your first ever fish?
Yeah.
Is that pretty
I'm
cool?
gonna put it back in the water.
You want to put it back in the water now? Okay. All right. We'll get him right back going. Say bye, Smokey.
Bye, Smokey.
Thank you, Smokey. Woo! All right. Give me a high five. You give me a high five? Yeah. All right.
Oh, God bless. Okay, a little bit more safety instruction.
We can't stop with one. When Live Bait returns, Nora decides she's not done. We've got more fish and a big kiss coming up. We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. In our last segment, young Nora caught her first fish. Now, in fact, she was ready before we were. Our cameras had to work hard to catch up to her for her first catch. Since she got very little instruction for that first fish, Bobby Glennon caught up with her and big brother Cole for a little calmer introduction to fishing.
Cole and Nora, we're here at Cedar Valley Ranch and we're going to do some fishing. Now Nora, was this your first day fishing? Did you catch a big fish today? How big was your fish? That big? That's a big fish. Did you have fun catching that fish? Yeah? What did you catch that fish with, a minnow? No? What did you catch it with?
The
With the fishing pole? That's. I should have known to ask that question.
Yep.
Nora, you're a very smart little girl. You got your minnow picked out? Which one do you want to use?
This one.
You want to use the red one? Do you like the red one?
Yeah.
Is it pretty? We're gonna go
Put it in his
right
mouth.
through the tail.
Oh, you could tie the fish.
Oh, come on, Mr. Minnow.
You want to tie the fish. Oh,
There we go.
You want to tie the fish on the deck.
And by hooking him through the tail, we get the natural swing movement of that fish on our line. Okay, good job, Cole.
I don't see anything.
You don't see anything? Oh my gosh, reel it in. You good, Nora? You want some help? You good?
I got it.
You're pretty strong. You're doing real good, Nora.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, but you got the way.
Are you catching more fish than your brother?
Yeah, I'm
Stop
catching
it.
one too.
You got a big one. You got a big one. Oh my goodness.
We're up in the water.
Wow.
Wow. It's thought it was a tree, but it isn't.
Wow.
I want the
Another giant speckle-bellied brim. You want to hug it? Let me get this hook out of him here first.
I said,
Camera. Big smile. Look at the camera and smile. Say bye-bye, fish.
bye, bye.
Good job. You want to catch another one? Oh, your brother's on the board.
Oh, he got the same one.
What kind of fish is it?
It is a giant southern speckle-bellied brim.
Cool.
Nora is now quite the angler. She caught several fish that day and finally announced that she was friends with all of the fish. In fact, she decided she was going to kiss the last one. You can tell when you take a close look that little Nora was committed to that kiss, and I think she is equally committed to the sport of fishing. Welcome to the club, Nora. We hope you enjoyed this show. We took you to Orlando, Florida, and the largest sport fishing show in the nation. We learned from one of the great American entrepreneurial stories from I.F. Anderson, one of the national leaders in growing the bait that makes great fishing happen. And minnows made the magic happen with one of our newest anglers, young Nora. Next week, we'll meet another fish farming family and more first fish. It's all coming up next week on Live Bait.